Do you think the patriarchs of Russia and Constantinople are going to formally excommunicate each other? And if they do, what do you think will happen?
Well, no, I don't, because of what would happen.
What would happen?
Well, every Orthodox in the world would have to choose between them. See,
Wow.
Moscow, of course, I mentioned the Apostolic Patriarchates just now. Moscow is not one of these. Moscow was created in the 1500s to make up for the fact that in those days the Patriarch of Constantinople was chosen by the Turkish Sultan. And the Russian Tsar did not want to have the church in Russia run by such a man.
Yeah.
So they sort of have existed in an uneasy relationship ever since then. One of the things that occurred after World War I, when the communists took over and when the Turkish Republic was established, two different things happened. Peter the Great had abolished the Patriarchate and replaced it with the Holy Synod of Russia. But after the Tsars were overthrown, the Patriarchate was reestablished in Moscow. At the same time, the Turkish governing authorities stopped choosing the Patriarch. It was left by the Greek clergy. So he's free.
Mm-hmm.
But here was the big problem. In the United States and Canada and South America and Australia and so on, up until World War I, all the overseas Orthodox, not just Russian, but Greek, Serbian, Romanian, Bulgarian, Albanian, whatever, were under the Russian Patriarch. Okay? But after the Russian Revolution, not the Patriarch, because they didn't have one yet, but under the Russian Holy Synod, you get the Patriarch back, they have the revolution, and that structure collapses.
Mm.
So all these different national Orthodox go running around trying to make up for it. Well, the Patriarch of Constantinople steps in and sets up his own hierarchies across the globe,
Mm-hmm.
to which the Greeks mostly adhered, and some of the others, but not all of them by any stretch. You had three different contending Russian dioceses, or not dioceses, setups, contending for their loyalty. You had Serbians, Armenians, Georgians, Romanians, Bulgarians, all these people running around, setting up churches and dioceses. Well, after the fall of the Soviet Union and the fall of communism, the Patriarchate of Moscow was freed from the communist government.
Mm-hmm.
So almost immediately, she tries to reassert her control over churches outside Russia, many of which are under Constantinople. So that brings them into conflict immediately.
You're right.
And not just that far out, Estonia, which was part of the Soviet Union, has a very large Orthodox population. Well, as you can imagine, as part of the whole Estonian nationalist thing, a lot of them wanted nothing to do with the Russian Orthodox Church and the Patriarchate of Moscow after independence. So they set up a separate Estonian Orthodox Church and turned to the Patriarchate of Moscow for governance and got it.
Yeah.
Well, the Russian Orthodox said, you're poaching our territory, blah, blah, blah. The Estonian, or the Patriarch of Constantinople said, no, these people are ethnic Estonians, they want to be free from you, blah, blah, blah. Came very close. They settled the deal, though, and I think that will continue to happen. I can't imagine them actually going into a formal system. But one of the things the Catholics who contend with Orthodox and get perhaps a certain amount of abuse from them should bear in mind, it's not personal. They're far worse than each other.
So that's what the excommunication is or I mean potential excommunication before, just this turf war. There's nothing dogmatic in any.
Not really. The Constantinople tends to be a bit friendlier to Rome, but only a bit friendlier, especially since Putin has become sort of pro-papal.
Putin?
Putin, the Russian prime minister.
Oh, Putin.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
See, one of the things about the Orthodox, is that their lay leadership is often more important than their religious leadership. I'll give you an example. John Paul II wanted to go to Greece. But the then Patriarch of Athens said, no, we can never come here. We won't have him soil our beautiful Orthodox Greece with his evil, foul Latin feet. Well, the Greek government took a survey of the Greek population. It turned out the vast majority of Greeks don't see any real difference between Catholicism and Orthodoxy, and were keen on seeing the Pope.
Yeah.
Well, since the Greek government owes its existence on the votes of the people, that's what happened. They explained to the Archbishop of Athens, who had been so furious, that actually he was going to be welcoming the Pope when he got there, and that he would enjoy himself. And sure enough, the Pope got there, they had a great time together, and he became a great friend of the Pope's.
How is it they are subject to the government like that? Sorry for the noob question, but...
It's an old tradition in Orthodoxy. It's perhaps unfair to call it Caesaropapism, but...
Caesaropapism.
Yeah, meaning the emperor acts as pope.
Ah.
But while it would be unkind to call it that, it might not be entirely inaccurate all the time either.
Okay.